Look, Andrew, we're faced with heaps of different issues on farm, and if you've got any other topics that you'd like to discuss around insurance.
Yeah, obviously weather's always one thing that we can't control. People watching this will be aware that the last 12 months has been quite a wet year for parts of the country, whether you're in the south or in the north. Understanding what your policy entitles you to automatically is quite important. So flooding is one of those, especially in respect of animal feed and fencing.
Yep.
So that sort of stuff is quite key to know that we would cover that automatically. So
Wicked.
That's a positive there.
That's awesome. Yeah, because it's been pretty reckless down here, the old weather coming through, and look, this year in particular we've had puddles where I've never seen them before, and they literally showed up within 24 hours. So fortunately we're on a bit of a hill here, but we have got a pretty big catchment area. So we've got a catchment of probably about 3,000 or 4,000 hectares behind us that sort of comes down through our farm. So yeah, we've got pretty good drainage here, but some farms that were over the other side of the hill weren't as lucky.
Yeah, and it's just about understanding how much value you have in one place in respect of where you store your feed.
Yep.
So you can insure that correctly if you need to. But a policy, as I said, they do provide you an element of cover automatically for that, which is quite important.
Awesome. So have you got any other claims that often come up on the horizon that are, that you'll be quite familiar with sorting out for farmers?
Most common ones in respect to certainly the dairy side would be milk claims. We do see quite a lot of them up in Canterbury where I'm based throughout the season, mostly when contract milkers come in new.
Yep.
So they're just getting used to the system, used to the new ways of operating the farm, new staff perhaps. You're having high grades, how that affects things.
Yep.
I'd say fully understanding how your milk benefit insurance works, so what your milk cover actually gets you. Not all policies are the same. With us, you just got milk cover, so that's all you have to be concerned about. So you've obviously had some milk claims or milk issues in the past.
Yep.
Any in the last year you've had?
So in the last year we've had we had a milk claim solely on the fact that we didn't turn the tap on, so the whole milking went down the drain. So we've had the claim on that. It's probably one of the big ones. Have known of a few friends who have had to dump their milk, so 2 days worth of milking at sort of 2 milk solids a cow. So it's been a pretty big cost at an important time of the year where we're really relying on that income to come in.
Yeah, because it's also understanding that milk does get contaminated. That's something that just happens, but also what happens to the milk company pick it up. So you might contaminate other people's milk in the tanker.
Yep.
Or Fonterra, for example, are likely to fine you for that. So understanding how the insurance works from the demerit side of things is quite important in understanding what you're going to get in respect of every claim. Also, how you set your milk benefits cover. So
Yep.
that's the cover you get for each milking that's been dumped, for example. So how much milk could be held in the vat at once. That's just the way you determine how to set your sum insured based on how many cows you have as well.
Wicked. So let's dive a little bit deeper there for those of us that are watching. So are you saying that every time if we were to get a milk contamination, that there could be potential risks beyond our farm gate?
Correct. Yeah. So the first thing you want to do, if you're aware of it, is you're meant to notify the milk company that there's a grade. If you don't, then you're effectively non-compliant in the milk. There'll be a penalty imposed upon you. Each company is different as to what level of penalty will be.
Yep.
And how high that level of contamination is. But it's important that you know what you can be facing in that respect. From my own personal experience, I've had some quite big, chunky fines in the past. Above $20,000 penalty itself.
Wow.
That's before you even discuss the milk being dumped.
Really?
So, there's some quite big claims there, and it's often quite misunderstood.
Yeah.
The general dairy farmers. So, the other thing to ask you is, what would you do if this wasn't operational? The shed behind us.
Yeah, so this is obviously a fundamental part of our business. Obviously, we're in the business of producing quality milk, that being in fat and protein, and in order to get it from the grass to the vat over there, we need this beast that was currently standing in. So look, if this was to burn down, or we were to have a big breakdown here, I don't know how long it would take for us to replace it, but at the moment we've sort of got a bit of a breakdown protocol where we will try and work with our farmers behind us and try and get our cows processed through the cow shed, and we obviously have to work around their system. So how that's going to roll out is obviously going to change from us having a discussion about it compared to it actually happening, and what time of the year it might be. It's all up in the air, but they have said that we could potentially milk through their shed.
Yeah, because have you heard of a term called business interruption before in respect of insurance?
No.
So that's a term that's it's a big word and it can be quite confusing, but actually it's pretty straightforward. At the end of the day, if there's a fire or an earthquake at the shed, it's that financial loss that you are recovering as a result. So the shed is not going to be rebuilt in 2-3 weeks. It's going to take months.
Yeah.
So you just mentioned you might go to the neighbours. You're going to be doing that for months. So that will impact your production. But you also got to look after your staff. In that period of time, you still got your bills to pay. All your other outputs are still the same. You still got to feed your cows, still got to buy and feed. Your farm goes on, but you haven't got your milk going out to the same standard that you had before the incident happened. So business interruption insurance covers that financial gap and puts you back in that position you were before the incident happened. So New Zealand is an earthquake zone. Canterbury and other parts of the country more than others. But if you get one small crack down the shed or part of the shed, as Fonterra, for example, because it's a food producing site, will not touch it.
Wow, is that right?
Yeah. So in that respect, it would need to be repaired. So it doesn't necessarily take extensive damage to be a big disruption.
Yeah, definitely. So look, depending on what time of the year it is, it's cool to say, yeah, we could get the engineers and the plumbers all here and the builders to build a new cow shed, but just with this weather issue, you wouldn't even be able to lay concrete for probably 2-3 months of the year. So that alone is going to delay the shed being built. So look, I'd hate to see what you've had to deal with in the past, and I really hope that we don't have any issues on our farm with our shed having a bit of a meltdown, as well as milk claims. And fortunately, we really give our staff a good understanding of our milk process, and everyone understands the risk that's involved. Anything else you want to touch on there?
Yeah, probably is in respect to machinery that you've got on your farm. So, are you aware of what pumps, wells, whether in the shed, whether the water pumps that you have and how they work, and what the importance is to the functioning of the shed?
Yeah, look, I think we rely solely on one water well to deliver our water, and we're running on 150 litres per cow per day. So that's a lot of water coming through the shed. What sort of insurance claims are you familiar with in terms of wells and pumps on farm?
So wells and pumps in particular, probably the most common one we see is lightning damage. It can cause some major disruptions, so the pump can't operate until you get it fixed. So you might not have an extensive period out of action, but you have an expensive repair.
Yeah.
That pump needs replaced. Vacuum pumps, for example, hugely important to dairy sheds in particular. You can't get the milk out, you've got a problem there. So it's making sure you've got the right cover for your pumps as well, which is hugely important. So.
Obviously, we're situated down here in Southland, and we get all types of weather in 12 hours. With this weather event that we've had this winter, how did the team handle it, mate? Have you had any issues with farmers and insurance claims? So
with the Southland floods, we did discover that our policies responded very favourably to the losses to feed and to fences. So this cover is provided automatically through both of our farm policies and insurance companies that we use.
Okay.
That's not the same with everybody.
Yeah.
So the benefit of using someone like myself is that I can identify your problems and your issues before that, so that you know exactly what you're entitled to. It wasn't just flooding in Southland, there was flooding in Northland as well.
Yeah.
So the same problems occur up there. In Canterbury last year, we had major hailstorms which affected silage pits as well. So you get claims out of that automatically. It's really understanding what you're entitled to and what the insurance policy actually gives you. So my role is to educate you on that without you having to worry about it. Yeah.
Oh, well, cheers, Andrew. It's been great to catch up with you in the cow shed, mate, and hopefully we can chuck a spare open on there. Been awesome to delve deep into some of the issues that we could actually be facing, whether it be not be today or tomorrow, but never in the future, because we don't have insurance claims and nothing goes wrong on our farm. So look forward to catching up with you with the next video, mate, and we have a bit of a roundup on the last lot of videos that we've shot.
Yep, sounds good.
Awesome.
Can't wait. Thanks very
Cheers,
much.
bud. See you, team.
See ya.